What up, everybody? Reg made his return to the Shy in Season 7 with the intentions of simply laying low, getting money, smashing hoes, and eventually taking Nuck off the board and taking back control of the 63rd Street mob. But things don't always go as planned, and Reg's only been back for a few episodes now, but he's already getting heat from every direction and might even have more enemies at this point than he even has people who knows he's alive. It all started with Detective Tucson's son calling her and lighting a fire in her, telling her that he got word that Reg is alive, and he was convinced that Reg getting locked up was his ticket home. So with Reg supposed to be laying low right now, and only a few people knowing that he's alive, and even less at the time, the question is, how did word get to the Illinois Department of Corrections that Reg was still alive? And if the word has already got to the prison and to law enforcement, that likely means word is also spread on the streets, off camera as well. And this caused Detective Tucson to immediately start investigating into Reg and looking for a way to lock him up. First finding the ATM footage from when Reg and Jake robbed the ATMs. Then questioning Bari about Rob's murder and asking him if it was Reg. And also notice that it's been months since Duda and Rob's death, because Tiff has to be about ready to give birth at this point, and the police haven't really came around looking into either Rob's death or Duda's death, not until Tucson found out that Reg was still alive. That lets us know that they're really not looking for justice when it comes to those crimes, but simply looking to find a way to lock Reg up. Getting me to Bari, who took the information he got from Detective Tucson straight to Alicia, knowing who Rob's killer really is, and that it's Nuck, and that he was bringing Alicia false information. Bari feels close enough to Nuck that he sees him as a brother, and he feels like sending Alicia to kill Reg was doing what he needed to do to protect Nuck. Either though Nuck wasn't happy about this and told Bari to lay low and not to make another move without talking to him first. So after Bari brought this information to Alicia, that created another enemy and a powerful enemy for Reg at the same time. And because Alicia's first move against Reg, trying to shoot him from across the street, didn't work, now she's turned to more powerful people, Judge Bradley, telling her to bend the rules for good in order to find a way to lock Reg up, saying that as long as people like Reg are on the streets of Chicago, that it won't be a safe place for her grandson to grow up. Then Judge Bradley brings everything full circle, turning to Detective Tucson and letting her know that if she can find a way to lock up Reginald Taylor, then she will make sure that Detective Tucson's son gets out of prison. Then we know from the episode 7 trailer that Detective Tucson's next move will be turning to Nuck to work something out with him, because like I said, it's not about justice. This is about a vendetta for Reg. Because as she's talking to Nuck, Tucson is talking to the person who's really been responsible for dropping the bodies and who is really responsible for killing both Rob and Duda. In the trailer, Nuck asks Tucson what she wants from him, and she tells him that cops and robbers go hand in hand in this city, and if he looks out for her, she'll look out for him. Detective Tucson likely doesn't have the kind of power to give Nuck some kind of get out of jail free pass or anything like that. But what she can do in regards to looking out for him is give him the drop if the cops were looking into him or anything like that, possibly even going as far as getting rid of any evidence that they have on him or pointing her co-workers in the other direction, protecting him and things like that. The type things a cop would do for you if they were on your payroll, except Nuck would be helping Tucson's son get out of prison, so she would owe him. Then looking at the situation from Nuck's perspective, he might be hesitant to trust a cop, but the fact that she's looking into Reg could be a win-win situation for Nuck. Not only because he would be potentially pinning Rob's murder on Reg, taking any potential future heat off him, but this would also make sure that there was no civil war over the 63rd Street mob that takes place also. Because after Reg was shot in episode 5 and episode 6, Reg had Jake talking to a few members of the 63rd Street mob who were Reg's people to have them watching Reg's back. So if Reg really wanted a civil war over the mob, he could have it, some being loyal to him and some to Nuck. But that's not his plan. He wants the whole mob, so his plan is to simply take Nuck off the board when the time is right. And even though Nuck told Jake if Reg needs anything from the mob to let him know, he was obviously just trying to play it cool, but we could tell that he was actually pissed off about it. So getting Reg locked up could be a way that Nuck sees to remain in full control over the mob, without resorting to pulling the trigger and killing Reg, keeping in mind that Nuck is already talking to Pastor Zeke, getting counseling, and feeling guilty about killing Rob. But when it comes to pinning these murders on Reg, there's one key that could potentially blow up the entire case to make sure that Reg remains a free man. Because the fact that Reg didn't kill neither Duda or Rob, and he wasn't even in Chicago when these things happened. Reg was still wherever he was for those years laying low. And if Reg was out of state, a ways away from Chicago, he could potentially have proof that he was out of state and not even in the Chicago area during the time of Duda or Rob's murders. And this would not only backfire on everybody, this would also reveal to Alicia that Reg didn't actually kill Rob. Reg also made an ally in episode 6 when he went to talk to Shad. Because Shad grew up with Reg's older brother Victor, Shad was like a brother figure to Reg when he was younger. And while Shad feels like he's all alone, Reg let him know that he's not alone and that he will always see him as family. After that conversation, Shad and Alicia got into an argument when she let Shad know that Reg needs to be behind bars. And Shad walked out in the middle of his shift doing security. So with Shad siding with Reg over Alicia, this could potentially leave Alicia vulnerable to be attacked. Keep it in mind that in episode 6, Reg said he wants both Alicia and Nuck dead. And there's also 2 wild cards that could come into play with this whole situation as well. Pastor Zeke and his daughter Kenya, because they both know the truth that it was Nuck who killed Rob. But like I said, Nuck is currently getting counseling from Pastor Zeke and has even admitted as much himself. And Kenya was told by Zay that Nuck killed both Duda and Rob. Kenya even warned Zay to watch his back when it comes to Nuck. And after Zay's death, she left Chicago to stay with her grandmother Renee in Arkansas. And Renee, a character who will be played by the one and only Phylicia Rashad, will make her debut on the show next episode as Zeke's mother and Kenya's grandma. Renee's character description is said to be a character who sees Pastor Zeke for who he truly is and can effectively communicate with him. And also keep it in mind that in episode 5, Alicia already spoke to Zeke about letting her know who's dropping all the bodies in Chicago. So after getting away to Arkansas because of the controversy going on with him and his church, we'll see what kind of advice Pastor Zeke gets from his mother Renee, and if Nuck could potentially have to worry about Zeke and Kenya moving forward. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.